Hi, my name is Andrew Chu, and I'm the Senior Research and Policy Analyst at the Institute for Public Policy and Economic Development. The unemployment rate in Lackawanna County peaked at over 17% in April of 2020. In Luzerne County, unemployment reached 18.5%. Those are historically high numbers. By the end of the year, we were down to 6.9% in Lackawanna and 8.3% in Luzerne, a very rapid improvement since those April peaks early in the pandemic, but still much higher than a pre-pandemic level. So we still have a ways to go to get back to that pre-pandemic, more normal economy. We have found that certain key industries like retail, hospitality, and tourism, these have been some of the sectors that have been hit hardest and are also expected to be among the slowest to recover and get back to that pre-pandemic normal. As we reported in our most recent quarterly economy tracker, the arts, entertainment, and recreation industry, for just one example, lost 22% of its jobs between 2019 and the third quarter of 2020. These economic changes that we've been talking about, of course, that also trickles down and has profound impacts on families and workers all around our region. And we've heard from nonprofits and social service organizations that have experienced surges in demand for assistance because many people have lost jobs or had hours cut or otherwise lost income and are facing challenges maybe that they've never faced before in their families. In fact, nearly half of households in Northeastern Pennsylvania experienced some loss of income since March 13th of 2020. Data collected by the Census Bureau has also shown that a very large share of Pennsylvanians are still experiencing some insecurity related to their jobs or income. Back in the spring of 2020, when the pandemic was starting, 37% of Pennsylvanians surveyed at that particular time expected a further loss of work income within the next 4 weeks. As the economy recovered through 2020, by late summer, in surveys taken in July and August, that number was down to just under 28%. But it did tick up a little bit to about 29% of Pennsylvanians in data collected from late November through mid-January of 2021. So that as we saw that resurgence of the virus, the economic insecurity also came back with that as well. At the Institute, we also did a study of equity and COVID-19. And in that research, we found that there were uneven impacts of both the COVID-19 disease itself and the economic and employment impacts across gender, age, and racial and ethnic lines. So one impact that the pandemic is likely having on our region is contributing to potentially even widening those disparities that have already existed. And that's something that we want to be really concerned about as well. One trend that we saw in Lackawanna and Luzerne counties is that people of color made up 21% of long-term unemployment filers in January 2020, before the pandemic started. By October of 2020, about 8 months into the pandemic, the share of long-term unemployment filers was 32%. Workers under age 35 also make up a much larger share of unemployment filers during the pandemic compared with before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, women made up about 40% of all unemployment claims in Lackawanna and Luzerne counties, but that number increased to just over 50% during the pandemic. For households who are behind on their mortgage payments, for homeowner households, the share has improved a little bit since 2020, and in the most recent data we looked at, it was down to 10%, still a high share of homeowners who are behind on their last mortgage payment. For renters, the share has actually been continuing to increase. Over 22% of renters just over this past winter were behind on their last month's rent payment. So we're seeing that housing insecurity that follows that economic insecurity, and it is particularly acute for renter households in Pennsylvania. It's great news for our region that the vaccine is becoming more available and reaching more and more of the population in our communities. But the biggest factor that's shaping our economic recovery will be the spread of COVID-19 itself. That's why it's so important that we continue to do this work, we continue to take appropriate public health measures, and together we'll come back stronger as a region. We encourage anybody who's looking for more information on how our region can best respond to the challenges that we face to check out our Regional Indicators Initiative. We're having an event virtually on May 25th where we'll be presenting data and research in support of strengthening Northeastern Pennsylvania.